neckties. And Larry, where's Larry? Is Larry still here? Larry Bailey? I don't see Larry, but he was collecting them for someone who has been distributing them to people that need them for interviews. So, well, now there may be some women that also have neckties, but if you have neckties that you're not using, please bring them, and we're collecting them. And then Larry is going to distribute them to this person who is distributing them to those who need them. So if you'll just bring them to any of the meetings that we have, we are collecting them. Did I do that okay, Larry? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And a reminder that next week we will not meet at lunch. Instead, we're having a social hosted at Sandy Glaze by Carter Rosenblum. So thank you, Carter. There's a flyer on your tables. As a reminder of that, we will be meeting at 5:30, from 5:30 to 7:30 next Wednesday instead of our lunch meeting. The address is there on the flyer, but it's on Lenox Avenue. Food, beverages will be provided. So please come.
Are we doing this for a purpose? Are we collecting anything for anyone?
We're not collecting anything next week. Just show up and have a good time. You're welcome to bring guests. So please feel free to do that. Any questions about the social next week? Thank you again, Carter, for hosting us at your company. We appreciate it. Any other announcements or pop-ups? Okay, Family of Rotary, Doug Benfield, I'm going to finish it for him at the last minute. He wasn't able to be here with us today. So Family of Rotary, please keep Dave Collier in your thoughts and prayers. We just got a report today that he is in St. Vincent's. He's been there for a couple of days. Something in the neighborhood of the flu or pneumonia, something in that family of illnesses. So please keep Dave in your thoughts and prayers. And then, are there any other Family of Rotary besides birthdays? And I'll read the birthdays. Any other Family of Rotary announcements? Okay. So birthdays. February the 4th, Ryan Crabtree. Also on the 4th, Jeff Rayner. On the 13th, Gigi Carroll. On the 19th, a really special guy to me, my dad, Mike Corrigan. On the 19th, also Admiral Watson. The 21st, Lee Davis. Also on the 21st, Johnny McLeod. And then on the 26th, Drew Bisbee. And the 27th, Preston Keys. So let's wish everybody a happy birthday with you. Happy birthday. Okay, with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Carter Rosenblum, our Sergeant at Arms. He's going to do our weekly raffle. And then he's also going to do, he's going to introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests and give us a history moment. He's got a heavy load today. Carter, it's all yours. Where's the raffle? Larry, you ready?
You lost. Are you ready? One longer. Well, nice try. Moving on next week.
Turn this off. Yeah, let me just have it. We're going to just have to work off one mic.
All right, welcome everybody. We have I'd like to start out before I do my moment in Rotary history, introducing some of our guests today. Just a second, put my mic. Dane Jensen has a visiting guest. Please stand, Sarah.
Fellow Rotarians, it is a pleasure to introduce to you Sarah Piso. She's a colleague of mine at Southfield Chat and also legal counsel for the junior.
I put together a brief synopsis of moment in Rotary history for everybody today. If you recall, last time we left off, Paul Harris had recently finished his second term as president and was gearing up for his third run, which would be at the National Convention in Duluth, Minnesota, and this was in 1912. Leading up to this event, Paul Harris had put in quite a bit of work getting Rotary to where it was. 7 years of work during the day and night to make all this happen. And what a lot of people I don't think know about Paul Harris is that he's extremely stubborn and he had a hard time relinquishing control of things. If the board didn't work with him on something, he would just go around them and make it happen. So due to this, Rotary was going in a great direction, but a lot of the top leaders in Rotary at the time were growing kind of tired of doing whatever Paul Harris said. So when I finished last time, he had sort of gotten control of everything that he wanted. And then going into this next convention, he pretty much immediately lost control of everything. There were a few factors that led up to this. One of them was, in all this losing control, Paul Harris eventually in the third election was not elected and basically had to resign as the president of Rotary at the time for the National Rotary Association. So some of the things that led up to this was Paul Harris's law business was in pretty bad condition, as you can imagine, if you're spending all your time working on the Rotary Club Foundation. Doesn't leave you a whole lot of time to run your own law business. So that was starting to crumble underneath him. Also, no shocker here, Harris's wife, Jean, who he had recently married, was getting tired of being the second fiddle to Rotary. So she eventually put her foot down and said, you're either going to stay married to me or you're going to leave me for Rotary. Leading part of that struggle was that Jean helped Paul Harris with a lot of his health issues. He had contracted some sort of disease in college, and that created a lot of health issues for him, which was also a big factor in all this. So with all this in mind, Paul Harris decided that it might not be a bad idea for him to resign as the president of Rotary. On top of all of that, Paul still sort of thought that, hey, I might be nominated just because everybody loves me and I'll be elected president. And so I'll probably still do it if that happens. But the other members on the board with him had a meeting behind his back and decided that they weren't going to nominate him, which he did not fight due to the poor business performance, his wife saying she was going to leave him, and his bad health, which after this convention, he had spent 3 weeks on bed rest to get back in shape. But luckily for everybody, he did resign. He stayed away from Rotary until 1919. And when it was not under his supervision, as we all know, everything went pretty well. So a little interesting fact about all this, after this Rotary convention, he waited 18 years until 1930 to attend his next convention. So that's my moment, Rotary history. President. Dane, would you like to come up and introduce our speaker today?
All right, fellow Rotarians, it is indeed an honor and a privilege to introduce today's speakers. Danielle Bush Stacy is this year's Junior League of Jacksonville president. Danielle plans on building upon the momentum created in previous years to end the first 100 years of the Junior League of Jacksonville with a bang. Danielle joined the Junior League of Jacksonville in the spring of 2012 She served as Holiday Market Chair in 2014, New Member Advisor in 2017, and Whale of a Sale Chair in 2020. She's been on the Board of Management Council since 2015 as VP of Membership in 2015 and 2016, nominating elect in 2017, nominating chair in 2018, executive vice president in 2019, and president-elect in 2021, and of course now president. Danielle works for Valet Living as a regional sales executive. She's an active member of the First Coast Apartment Association and chairs their awards gala, which is called Circle of Excellence. Danielle was recognized with the 2019 Supplier of the Year Award from FCAA. She serves on the APAC board for the Florida Apartment Association, otherwise known as the FAA, and is a member of the FAA Legislative Committee and Florida Suppliers Council. Danielle is married to Tom Stacy. They have two sons, Dustin and Xander, and they live in the Bartram Trail area here in town. Courtney Taylor is the current president-elect of the Junior League and has served in several leadership positions within the league, including VP of Community Relations in 2013, Chair of New Membership Committee in 2018, Chair of Enrichment in 2012, and Vice Chair of the Public Affairs Committee in 2020. Outside of the Junior League, Courtney has served as the chair of the Red Shield Ball benefiting the Salvation Army of Northeast Florida and has been a member of several committees for the Women's Board Winter Design Show, formerly known as the Arts and Antique Show. She is also a 2020 graduate of Parents Who Lead, an extensive 20-week civic leadership development program for parents, which is hosted by the Jacksonville Public Education Fund. Courtney holds a bachelor's degree in English and a master's degree in education administration. Professionally, she has worked as a teacher and a school administrator in Duval County, St. Johns County, and Fort Worth, Texas for 13 years. She lives in San Marco with her husband, Jacob, their 6-year-old son, Lawson. And in addition to volunteering, Courtney enjoys listening to true crime podcasts, hosting parties, and thrifting at local shops. Fellow Rotarians, please give a warm round of applause to our guest today.
You want it up?
Yes, please. Hi, thank you so much for having us. So I'm Courtney Taylor. This is Danielle Stacy. We're kind of the dynamic duo of the Junior League right now. A blessing and a curse, I'll say that, a blessing and a curse. So has anyone heard of the Junior League or anyone's wife been a member of the Junior League? Yay, okay. So my husband, when we first started together, he was like, you have the Urban League meeting tonight? No, it's the Junior League. Or, you know, it's not the grown-up sorority league. Here we are. It's the Junior League. So I already screwed this up. Okay, so Dane gave us some fabulous flyers, so we will not go through all of that again. But we are here to talk a little bit about who we are as an organization. It was kind of mentioned, but we are turning 100 years old. Actually, our birthday was on January 10th of this just past January. So the Junior League has been a staple in the Jacksonville community for 100 years. Our league year runs from August all the way to June. So we will celebrate our anniversary in April of next year, and we're really excited to do that. We will go through, I can't really see, our active membership. So you can see that we currently have about, 200 active members, no, 150 active members. I can't see it in front of me. So about 150 active members, and then we have a little over 400 of Sustainer members. So those are kind of like our alumni, right? So they're around, they're no longer really actively participating, but we love to involve them in various activities throughout the year. They come to more of our festive parties, if you will, but not necessarily out there volunteering with us on a daily basis. These are some notable Junior League members, so you may see some names that you recognize on that list. So we are a women's service organization. We pride ourselves on training our members to be able to go out into the community and pursue, whatever they are interested in doing. We've had several that have pursue politics. We have several that are now heading up different organizations around town. And if you talk to a lot of them, they will say that the training that they received within the junior league when they were, just really helped set them up for what they are doing now. Okay, so a little bit about our history. Before we get into that, we had our own general membership meeting last night, and we had Dr. Husband from Feeding Northeast Florida join us. And she gave us some really interesting information that I think you guys will also find interesting as well. So as an organization, we focus a lot on women and children and food insecurity. So right now we are sitting in the 32210 zip code, right? What do you think, does anybody know, the current percentage of children who are food insecure and living in poverty in the 32210 zip code? Go ahead.
30%.
So not that high, thankfully, but not far off. So it's about 26%. So 1 in 4 children in 32210 are food insecure, meaning they do not have consistent access to food. There's not a breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack time at home, right? And they're also living below that poverty line. I live in San Marco, 32207. That number is 34%, which is really high. Yes. Okay, so and we'll talk a little bit more about our programs and what we are doing to help kind of combat that problem and, in conjunction with our partners and the city in a little bit. But just a little bit about our history. So we did start in 1923 when the organization first started. They opened a child care facility where they were caring for the children of working mothers. And then
Slide the podium out, it rolls.
Oh. Okay. But then from there, we started focusing. So we always had that focus of women and children. Then we started getting into the health side of things. And we opened a children's ward at Hope Haven Hospital, which is still in existence today, where we were caring for children who had tuberculosis and polio. When we first, in the early 1940s, the Junior League opened a thrift shop that was in downtown Jacksonville on Ashton.
This is Alison from Loft at Monroe.
About 30 years, so a long time. And that was like the league's main source of income.
Our two bedrooms rent for 1,063.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, not me.
Continue.
Oh.
Next one.
Yes, sir.
You broke it.
I'm sorry. I know. So again, we have always had our focus on women and children. A few things that we have had our hand in that you may not have known about, but we were very instrumental in, we opened the Jacksonville Hearing and Speech Center. That's not what it was originally called, but one of our founding members and one of our very first presidents was a speech therapist, and her name was Dr. Barrett, and she wanted to open a center for children who needed speech therapy. And then from there, the women of the Junior League were actually the volunteers who held the classes when they first originally opened. And then since then, it has evolved into the Jacksonville Hearing and Speech Center, which it still is today. So they are one of our forever partners. We love working with them. They are so gracious and making sure everybody knows that the Junior League is the reason that they are in this community. And then from there, we also helped with the groundbreaking of several buildings in Jacksonville, which was the YWCA and then the Hubbard House as well. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about our current impact, which is our programming side of things, and Danielle's going to talk about that.
Okay, so like Courtney said, our focus currently is food insecurity. Several years ago, we developed a research committee that came to us, and we voted on two propositions. One was food insecurity, and the other one was reading. As a league, we chose food insecurity, and it has taken several years for us to get to where we are. We started off with We thought we were going to get this mobile bus and drive it around and provide food. Anybody that knows how hard it is to procure a bus or transportation costs right now knows that was impossible. So we moved on. For a couple of years, we partnered with a character called Tommy Tomato, who did this like book and some curriculum to teach kids about vegetables. It's a little too hokey for our needs, so then we came up with what we now call Fresh Minds, that we have partnered with a program that we call Kids in the Kitchen as well. Kids in the Kitchen is a program.
Sorry, could you go to the next slide?
Sorry.
Okay, sorry, dyads. Okay, so our dyads was what we call done in a day. So we partner with local agencies and we do like activities or programs that they need, just a one and done. We have a long list of community partners that we do, and we are able to provide them with volunteers that they otherwise would not have. So they are able to get volunteers and staffing for their events, and we are able to train our members not only how to volunteer, but also how to work with our local communities. And so it is kind of a win-win for both. And I'm pulling up, we do have a long list of partners, but some of ours that we recently worked for, we have done Beaches Habitat for Humanity, we've done the Best Buddies Ball, we have partnered with the Selly Foundation, Children's Home Society, Girls on the Run, and Daniel Kidd, as well as Hubbard House, Mall by Washington, Quigley House, and the Ronald McDonald House. Girls on the Run specifically will say that because of the impact we have, they're able to save over $30,000 because they don't have to hire staff to do the jobs that we do and help them out. So that's a lot of what our Done in the Day program does. It takes some of the relief for our partners. Our second one is Kids in the Kitchen. We have several partners that we go in and once or twice a month and teach kids about healthy snacks. We obviously don't force them anything, but we teach them how to make a healthy snack. We expose them to foods that they may not have any exposure to previously. You know, one of the things last night when we were listening to Dr. Hubbard, she had said, thank you, Dr. Husband. She had said that some of that is just exposing kids that they may not have ever had a brand name cookie, brand name mac and cheese. And so some of the kids, we asked them what they want. Some kids have gotten very adventurous and tried seaweed even, but even to them, a Chips Ahoy cookie or Kraft mac and cheese is something that they've not had, because in these insecure areas, they're a lot of times shopping at the local grocery store, the Dollar General, whatever is in their area that they have easy access to, and sometimes whatever's in the area that's accepting whatever payment, whether it be WIC or SNAP that they get, and that's not always exposing them to some of the things that we take for granted. So with these Kids in the Kitchen, we partner with them and we just go in and teach them healthy snacks and do a little bit of curriculum with them on healthy eating habits. Kids in the Garden is coming soon. We have started this. We have planted 2 aeroponic gardens. We purchased the gardens and put them at Sulzbacher Village. And the chef had requested that we plant bok choy and lettuce. And so when we go do Kids in the Kitchen at Sulzbacher Village, the kids help us maintain these gardens. And then once it's grown, they pick them and they're able to use them in the meals that the chef prepares for that site. And we are hoping to expand that. We also partner with White Harvest Farms. So we're hoping to expand the curriculum with the garden by partnering with White Harvest Farms as well. Fresh Minds, and this is on our signature project. With Fresh Minds, we, like I said, it kind of evolved and we finally decided that we produce meal kits. We have partnered with both Sanctuary on 8th Street and Sulzbacher Village. Sanctuary on 8th is kind of our title one and the ones that we started with and we provide the most. So at the end of every month, when typically, you know, families' funds are running low, whether it be their SNAP or their like the paycheck to paycheck, we provide them with meals. We provide them for a family of 4, typically 5 meals that are ready-made. They're in a Ziploc bag. They get the instructions, and we send them home. And the parents line up like as soon as we get there to come pick these up, and it's able to get them through until the next payday. They are typically healthy meals that are fresh foods. We have 2 different shifts at our house where we help prepare all these meals. And then Sulzbacher Village had heard what we were doing and asked if we could also support them in some ways. So we are able to do, we just do 1 meal, but after Kids in the Kitchen on a Friday evening, we send home the 1 meal with the kids that participate in Kids in the Kitchen for them have a meal over the weekend to get them through to the next paycheck or benefit that they receive as well. Okay. Okay, yes, sir. Thank you, Courtney. The requirements, well, we do have requirements. We do have requirements. They are very similar to like if you get Home Chef or generally, but our requirements is that they must be easily repeatable. They must be easy to find ingredients. They must be able to make in 30 minutes or less. They use all fresh ingredients. They must be nutritious. They must be family friendly. They must be filling, and they must cost less than $3 a meal. and less than $2.25 for any of the ready to eat, which would be something that you're just popping in the microwave.
So one thing I will just bring attention to on the previous slide, the last line on there was that our annual budget for this program, the money that we're able to dedicate to it, it's only about $15,000, but we provide over 9,000 meals a year for less than $3 each. So we are doing a whole lot with very little, with very little money, but we're still meeting all of these requirements that they're not just getting boxed mac and cheese. They are getting fresh ingredients, just like a HelloFresh meal kit type of situation with the recipes that they are able to do at home and cook as a family. That's from Rick.
That's one of our, sorry, what is that? Rick Cartilage is one of our biggest fans, executive director of Sanctuary on 8th Street. That's just one of the testimonials. It shows last year we were able to provide 1,680 meals to 28 families. This year we are on track to provide, I'm sorry, I blew that wrong. The first year, 1,680. This year we're on track to provide 9,512 meals to 56 families. That does not include the snacks that we provide at Kids in the Kitchen. That is strictly just meals that we send home after all of that. And obviously the one thing like on our board that, the board is strategic at our management councils day to day. So our board is, we're constantly looking on how do we sustain this? Like what do we do that we're not constantly giving them meals? And so we are working with partnering people. The Deb store just did a groundbreaking earlier this year. We're working with partnering them once they're open to be able to, they're going to put the kits together so that way we have the recipe and use the kit and they can use their SNAP or WIC or cash, whichever, but be able to come in and just purchase these meal kits with the recipe. We're also looking at creating and finalizing our curriculum so that we're able to turn it over to our partner agencies and help them get funding so that they can sustain it on their own versus just being reliant on us. We've been a couple, like when we were at the Duval delegation, the president of FSF came to me and they just opened a new center on Moncrief and she said, food insecurity is a really big topic. Like, what can we do to partner? Like, can you give us your curriculum? And so that's what we're working to do is to give them this curriculum and help them get the funding so that it can be repeatable throughout the agencies. As we know from statistics, lots of children are food insecure and we cannot feed all the children, but we certainly can help the agencies to continue to repeat this and help feed more children. And then lastly, I'm going to turn it back to Courtney, and she's going to talk about some of the events and fundraising we do to be able to provide all of these programs.
So several of you raised your hands of knowing about the Junior League. So Whale of a Sale for 27 years was our main fundraiser. So Whale of a Sale was like a community style garage sale where we collected all your stuff, right? And we sold it. With the rise in popularity of Facebook Marketplace and SwipSwap type sites, the quality of the items that we were getting donated was really on the decline for several years. And so we discontinued the event for a couple years while we explored other options. But never fear, Whale of a Sale is back. And we have reimagined Whale of a Sale. And it is now a consignment sale. So members of the community, well, so I'll say this, youth are not our ideal target. Right? We're focusing on children's clothes and women's dresses. Okay. So,
you don't need a mic.
We are focusing on children's dresses, toys, baby gear, anything kid related, and then also women's dresses. People in the community can consign with us, and it is a 60-40 split where whatever you sell, you get to keep 60% of that price, and then the Junior League, we get to keep 40% of it.
Good deal.
So this is going to hopefully be our largest fundraiser of the year. So it is coming up. So if your wives or children or anyone is interested in participating in this event, we have tons of resources available on our website, on our social media, about how you can be involved in that event. Next. So Farm to Table is more of our like upscale type event. So this is a 3-course dinner we hosted at the North Florida School for Special Education at Berry Good Farms. And so everything that is used at that event that is served is grown within a 50-mile radius of Jacksonville. It's just a fun evening. until it rains. We haven't had that yet, so fingers crossed. But it is like on like a real far, like if you've never been there, it's a fabulous venue. My son has done a couple horseback riding lessons there. It's just super fun and open to the community to take part in. They are another, yes. And then, yes, finally, so our Riverside house, if you did not know, we own the Riverside house in Riverside. It is on 2165 Park Street. And so we are not only a nonprofit, we are also a business. So we get a crash course in business management. I was a teacher. You guys heard that. I don't know about accounting, but I do now. And we run this business. We rent it out for weddings. It is available to be rented out for birthday parties, conference rooms. We have a full kitchen in there, which makes it really attractive. And we've hosted some really beautiful weddings. So if you know of anyone that needs a party venue, please look us up. We are available. The last thing I will say that I didn't include, Sarah, Dane's guest, she's wearing a little button. It says, "Ask me about my little black dress." I will spare you from what happened to my black dress last night with the pizza eating incident, but it's fine. Danielle's wearing her black dress, but we do an awareness campaign every year. It's 1 week long, and it's where we as members of the Junior League, we wear the same little black dress every day for 5 days to raise awareness for poverty and food insecurity. And the reason that we do that is we are with the idea that we want to make poverty unfashionable, right? So we understand that there are women out in our workforce that they only have one black dress, right? Or they are just doing everything that they can to get by. So we are in support of that. Last night it was shared with us that currently right now, if your household does not make at least $27 an hour for a full-time position, then you're going to be in a position where you have to choose between your bills and food, more than likely. And if you think about it, like I said, I was a teacher. There are not very many teachers that make more than $27 an hour. Let me tell you, okay? So we are in kind of a crisis right now with the way that things are going. Things are very expensive, right? So we are, as a league, doing what we can to support all of these efforts with our partners, with the city. We're getting very involved with public policy. We are traveling to Tallahassee in March so that we can lobby, which I'm kind of excited about. I've never been. So we hope that we have given you some information that you didn't know before, and we are happy to answer any questions. And thank you so much for having.
Just yell it. Just
You
repeat.
don't have a microphone, so y'all are on your own. They'll just answer your questions.
Thank you.
I'll repeat the question.
Are there other junior leagues in other towns, and are you networked together?
Sure. So the question was, are there other junior leagues around town? And yes, so Junior League is an international organization. Each league is its own entity, I guess. Like we are our own certified nonprofit, but we do, I'm sure like you guys do, pay some sort of dues or fee to a national organization that you're a part of. So we do that as well. But yes, we are the only one in North Florida. I think the next closest one is Daytona. Yeah.
So those numbers that you shared as far as the size of the league, is that statewide? Is that just this chapter here in Northeast Florida?
So the numbers that were shared, the membership is just Jacksonville. Okay. Just Jacksonville. Yes, ma'am.
So the $15,000 budget, you have that particular program, and yet you're feeding so many people. How do you make that happen? That's really good shopping. Or do you have some partners that contribute also that supplement that budget?
No. So the question was, how do we feed so many people on the $15,000 budget that we have? So you are correct. We have some amazing shoppers. Part of that committee responsibilities for those that are on that committee is they are shopping like the BOGO deals, right? So our menus are not really made a year in advance. They're made based on what's available at the store. and based on like current sales, right? So we do get super creative with those menus, but still wanting to provide something that's new and nutritious and, you know, but also delicious, right? So there's a difference between like nutritious meals and like a calorie meal, right? Like we can all go out and eat some calories, right? But are we necessarily getting nutrition with it? And a lot of times the families that we are serving, they get a lot of calories, but not necessarily a lot of nutrition. And that's what we are trying to provide.
And another part that is so with the Junior League, every active member is placed on a committee. And so we have committees for every one of the events and every one of our projects. And so we are able to kind of deep dive in because we have people that are dedicated specifically to that project. So that is their year-long kind of like project and goal. So that way we have 2 or 3 people focusing on that to be able to dive and get the most effective pricing, the most effective processes. And then we have shifts. For instance, we have 2 meal plan shifts in Thursday nights, and then we have packing shifts on Friday afternoons where our members are doing it all. So that does help as well because we're not paying any labor costs. Yes, sir.
You mentioned the 2 zip codes. What is the best or the least involved, or however word you want to use, and what's the worst? Where's the problems lie?
So I don't know off the top of my head the best one. I do remember I was just kind of like quickly snapshotting with my brain numbers off the screen last night. I do know 32204, which is Riverside, where our Riverside house is. The percentage of children living in poverty and who are food insecure was over 60%.
Oh, wow.
And
Bartram, I think where I lived was about 6%.
Yes. And then so we try to do a lot within like Health Zone 1. I'm not sure if you all are familiar, but that is kind of an initiative that's put out through the city of Jacksonville, where it's specific zip codes where the people are more, there's higher rates of poverty, higher rates of food insecurity, higher rates of people who don't have access to medical care, higher rates of people who don't have insurance, right? And so they're pumping more resources into those areas. And that's where we are also trying to focus our areas with the idea of hopefully down the road saying like, hey, city of Jacksonville, we're helping you, help us out with some money, right? That's ultimately what we're hoping to do as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Service area for your Junior League. How far outside of the city of Jacksonville do you go? Do you also go to Forest Park, St. Johns County, Nassau, Clinton?
So we service the 5-county area, Duval, Clay, St. John's, Nassau, Baker. And I don't know recently, but we've also had some members that go into Camden County because they don't have their own league up in South Georgia. We don't do as much service up there, but we do service the 5 counties. Most of it is focused on the Health Zone 1, but I can tell you that this year, one of my initiatives is I really wanted to kind of spread our reach because we do have members in St. John's. We have members in Clay, and it's really hard, you know, if you're in St. John's County to get all the way up to Moncrief. That's a drive, and then to put in 3 hours. So we have started to get partners throughout our city. We have some in St. John's and we have some in Clay as well, but we service all 5 areas.
Thanks, Dan.
I can't help but react to the fact that you're doing a tremendous amount with a small amount of money and 150 members. What is your criteria for membership? And since you're juniors, your members age out.
Repeat that one.
So her question is that the reach that we're doing with 150 members, what is our criteria for membership? And since we are called the Junior League, do members age out? That answer is no. And so history, you know, when we first started, it was typically young mothers, people that were rolling out of college looking for something to do. Now our only requirement is that you must be 22 or older. And we have seen a significant uptick in women who are kind of entering their second phase of life. Their children have moved out of the house and now they're looking something to do. So because it used to be once you hit for 40, you were allowed to be sustainer. Now the idea is that once you have served 8 years, you can keep on forever or you can go sustainer. So we do not have any membership criteria other than must be 22 years old. And you can hang out as long as you want.
And a good human. We like good humans.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Two questions. First, I think it's really impressive the growth in terms of kids and families. You started in
looked like during the pandemic, was that the first year? But you really have some great growth since then. What's your ultimate goal? Do you have goals, say, for the 5 years from now? What would you like to do?
So I guess it depends on who you're asking now. My executive vice president, Jillian, who's not here today, she has kind of head up this whole program and got it really to where it is. And if you ask her, she's going to be like, we're going to do 20,000 less, which would be great. But our ultimate goal is to be able to turn this program over to our agencies and help them maintain it without us having to do it constantly week. Because, you know, a good program needs to be sustainable on its own and not rely on one organization to do it. Because if we had, you know, for some reason, financial trouble, or if several of my members got sick and we couldn't do a food prep, the program would not be able to sustain that. So our ultimate goal is that they are not reliant on us, that we can give them all of the criteria and help with the funding and let agencies run it themselves.
Very good, very good. Second question. My wife is a member of junior aid up in Champaign, Urbana, Illinois, many years ago, and had a great experience. He was president-elect and then removed, so she never took office as president. But going back to the first question about your international group, are you, like Rotary, do you have an international meeting every year, and does the president of your local go to that international meeting?
Yes, actually, both here. I went last year as president-elect. We had it in Dallas, and this year it is in Indianapolis. Fun city, I'm sorry. And so once a year we get together and we hear about what other leagues are doing. We do awards, but we also vote on different policy changes, and people put motions on the floor to form governance groups because the league is constantly changing. We just got a new CEO this year, so I anticipate that we're going to have a little bit of a different tone this year in our national conference. And we have women from all over the U.S. as well as our chapters in the UK, and I think someone from Australia was there as well this year. And also, all of our chapters, we all belong underneath the umbrella agency. So if there is a woman who either wants to transfer or to transfer her sustainer membership, we also, all of them accept transfers as well.
How many will be in Indiana?
Oh, for total? 1,000. Yeah. I was like, just us, no, 1,000 people.
Any specific piece of legislation you're supporting?
Repeat it.
Yeah, so one that we successfully lobbied for and was passed was the sales tax relief on diapers. So that was something that we came together as we are a member of the Florida State Public Affairs Committee, where all of the leagues in Florida do come together to support Florida specific legislative pieces. We go to the Duval delegation when all of the local members are there, and we will speak on that. And then we also help support our community partners on legislative pieces that are important to them. I know that there is a couple coming up in regards to food insecurity, obviously. I can't think of the name right off the top of my head, but I know there was one like the farm bill that we were, that's a more federal one that the AJLI as a national organization was a part of, but we do work closely with our partners to get things that are great for all of us. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. I just have 3 words about that presentation. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Is that not impressive? You guys are doing great work. So thank you so much for your service to the community. A lot of the things you were talking about are things we have shared goals, and so thank you. A lot of things you talk about are things that we strive to do also through Rotary. So thank you for all you're doing. Wow, very impressive. I guess that was 4 words. So thank you for being here, Courtney and Danielle. Thank you all for being here today. Thanks for everybody that contributed to making the meeting a success. Joe and Stu and Patty out at the front desk, and Jerry and Mike and Bob Hyde and Jennifer. So thank you all. A reminder that we're not going to meet at lunch next week. So we'll have our social at Sandy Glaze from 5:30 to 7:30. If you will, please RSVP on .db so we know how much food to have there. Meredith Smith is going to lead us in a 4-way test. Meredith?
First,
This is true. It's fair to all concerned. Will build goodwill and better friendships. Will be beneficial to all concerned.
I'm going to close with this one. I think it fits with what we heard today in our program. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. I can imagine Rotary through what we heard today, so I hope you will as well. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you at the social next week.